Sharon, this isn't small talk today, baby girl. This is the conversation that could completely change how you see your emotions. Welcome to the Holy Shiftball podcast. I'm Bethany, your energetic bestie, alongside my fabulous soul sister, Sharon. Hey, Sharon.
Hey, Bethany, how are you today?
Girl, good.
And we are here to help you turn your shit into a shift.
You know, girl, a couple of weeks ago, we had the pleasure of talking with today's guest, Olga. She joined us for an incredible conversation about cancer, healing, stress, and what happens when life suddenly gets very real.
And one thing that continuously showed up during that conversation was, do your emotions affect your consciousness?
Well, Sharon, because most people think emotions simply affect their mood. If you're happy, you're sad, you're angry, you're stressed, and that's the end of the story.
But we'd like to take a look at, what if your emotions influence far more than that? What if they're affecting your nervous system, your immune system, your decisions, your relationships, and even how you experience life itself?
Yes, girl. So today we're asking a powerful question. How does your emotions affect your consciousness?
And we're going to go deep. Like, how do they affect it during sleep, when you're under anesthesia, when you're in deep meditation, if you're in a coma, or even in death? If awareness disappears, where does it actually go? And there is nobody better to have this conversation with than our friend Olga.
Yes. So, Olga, welcome back to the Holy Shiftballs podcast.
Hello, Bethany. Hello, Sharon. It's great to see both of you again. And thank you very much for inviting me a second time.
Oh,
yes,
we had
girl.
such a great time with you.
We had to expand even more around your emotions and consciousness, and what a treat to be able to pick your brain some more. We enjoyed it so much last time. We're like, yeah, let's do it again.
Absolutely. And, it was fun while we did it. So we're going to jump right into the deep end, Olga.
Let's go.
What? I know you're ready. What if consciousness isn't fixed? If your emotions can shift it, then is it possible that healing isn't just physical? It's an actual literal expansion or contraction of your awareness. And if that's true, does that mean we can heal ourselves?
Wow.
I know.
Lots
That's
of
what I told her. I
topics
was
in
like,
there.
wow.
Very many points to discuss. I agree with all of them, but let's kind of break it down and dissect them. Let's first get all on the same wavelength with ourselves and our listeners, and discuss and define what exactly is an emotion. Well, very simply, it's energy in motion, but it's also a complex psychophysiological response to either external or internal stimuli that can lead to subjective feelings, behavioral responses, and most importantly, physiological changes.
Yes.
Because as you hinted, emotions, they don't operate in a vacuum. They affect many things, our energy field and of course our body. And that has major implications, therefore, in healing.
Yeah. Olga, when most people hear the word consciousness, they think about thoughts. First thing that comes, thought, what am I thinking? What do you believe that emotions may be even more influential than thoughts in shaping our experience, what we call reality?
I love that question because there's actually a bit of a raging debate as to the chicken and the egg. What comes first? Is it thought or emotion? or,
Yeah.
thoughts and feelings, but it's actually, they have a bi-directional relationship, because thoughts can affect emotions, and emotions can certainly influence thoughts. Like, just think of it, a thought can definitely trigger an emotion. If you say, oh, something bad might happen, or they don't care about me, then automatically your body reacts, your heart rate changes, your blood pressure changes. And then sometimes an emotion can rise to the surface, and then your mind can say, what's wrong? Did I forget something? So
Yeah.
and then even from an anatomical perspective, there are some people that are adamant that say that emotions arise first, because when you get stimuli, external stimuli picked up by the afferent nervous system, they first go through the limbic system before they reach the frontal cortex, which translates into the emotional processing center before they reach the thinking part of the brain. So I think it's definitely bi-directional. And then there's a psychologist, the cognitive behavioral therapists, who say, no, underneath many emotions, there's always some kind of thought lurking. And we can even go back 2,000 years to the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, who said it's not necessarily our thoughts or our feelings, it's our interpretation of that which
Yes.
causes us to feel. So I've said quite a mouthful there. I'll let you
Hey, hey.
And it all
I got my
happens in a
pad and paper.
millisecond.
I got my pad.
Yeah.
Hold on here.
It all happens in a millisecond, which is why the debate rages on, because everything is happening simultaneously. So it's hard to prove the chicken or the egg, what comes first, the emotion or the thought. So with that being said, how do emotions act as a filter through which we interpret reality? And how often are we mistaking that filter for the truth?
Yeah, I would say that this kind of reminds me of neurolinguistic programming, NLP. I don't know
Exactly.
if you
Yep.
know that.
Yep. I'm trained in ML.
Our filters kind of are created in early childhood experiences, when where the brain is very plastic and is learning and adapting. So we're not necessarily conscious of it. So it creates these filters, and then we just kind of sort of end up with them. And that's how we see things and process them and interpret them, and then that becomes beliefs, and then that crystallizes into our truth. But the reality is that everything is far more fluid and flexible, which is very empowering at the same time, especially with people who have serious diagnoses.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Olga, I've got one for you. Can a person's emotional state determine what they're capable of seeing, believing, and perceiving in a given moment? So, like, in other words, does fear create a different reality than peace?
Absolutely. When you're operating from fear, your sympathetic nervous system is operating, and so your whole physiology is tuned into fight or flight. So you don't care about digesting, you don't care about enjoying, you don't care about relaxing, and because you're focused on survival. And that means that you've closed off intuition and getting, being relaxed and making decisions from a place of centeredness, groundedness, and being informed, and your highest priorities and values. You just want to live, survive to the next minute. Make sure you're not being swallowed up by your boss or a saber-toothed tiger.
Yes, for sure. Go ahead, Sharon.
Okay. Oh, I've got so many questions. I just don't even know which one is the most beneficial to ask, actually. You spent your life in two worlds. So you've researched hard science and something science can't fully explain. So if emotions genuinely influence our consciousness, does that mean the line between the mind and the body, or even between science and spirit, was never really there to begin with?
Oh, I love that question. I love your show.
Thank you. We love having you on.
I think we've been operating in silos for so many centuries. And that's because the way sort of knowledge developed. But now it's time to come out of the silos. It's time, Newton has been dead for hundreds of years, and physics has discovered quantum physics.
Yeah.
It's time for biology to catch up with it.
Mhm.
And all of these areas, different subjects, they all are interrelated. And I think it's time for the rest of, for medicine and for science to catch on to this and start exploring this, and for people with diagnoses to appreciate this. I mean, the subject of psychoneuroimmunology, that's a blend of three distinct silos: psychology, neurology, immunology. But this isn't new. It was Candace Pert who launched this in the 90s. So it's been around for over 30 years. So it's time to get with the program, time to get with the new science, and move on. And this is a very exciting and empowering world, because
Yeah.
if you have control over your consciousness, if you have control over your emotions, that means you have a say in your health and your healing process.
Yeah.
And I just want to take this one little step further. And not only just to say, would you say that you actually participate physically in that process by healing yourself with your consciousness? Would you go out on that limb?
Yes, absolutely. Even from quantum physics, I can't remember if it was Wigner who coined the term participatory universe.
Yes.
We are long, it's been centuries since Descartes said, "I think, therefore I am," and there was the separation of church and state and brain and emotions, and the body is for the scientists, and the mind and the feelings are for the church. No, we're way beyond that. It's been centuries ago. It's time to move on.
Yes. Olga, your brain is fascinating, and your energy is just even more impressive, and I enjoy being in your field. If emotions shape attention, and attention shapes perception, and perception shapes reality, are emotions one of the most overlooked forces influencing consciousness?
Absolutely. And I think consciousness is being ignored, and emotions, because emotions were considered, and consciousness, they were like the hard problem. Well, how do you measure that? In science and medicine, you need to measure it. And if you can't measure it, it almost doesn't exist.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, that's not a very scientific attitude. I mean, what about atoms? They weren't detected and measured for centuries. Does that mean they didn't exist? That's not a very scientific approach. But I want to say now there's a huge correlation between emotions and heart rate variability. So therefore, they can be measured.
You know,
So go ahead.
Olga, for any listener that it might be new to consciousness, what exactly is consciousness? And if they're new to it, how can they connect to becoming aware of what consciousness is?
Well, let's start from the beginning and let's try to define it. Many
Yes.
people tried to do so.
Yeah.
Very simply, you can just say it's awareness, or if you want to get more technical, you could say it's a subjective, phenomenal experience of internal and external worlds. Consciousness implies a sense of self, feelings, choice, control of voluntary behavior, memory, thought, and even language. But what it actually is actually remains unknown. We can't just nail it down and say, this is definitively what it is, and here's the definitive model, and here's the definitive formula. But this is, from what I've gleaned from the various reading I've done, this is more or less how it's been defined. Or another way, consciousness also means the ability to be the experiencer of an experience.
And something you said that's really important is that it's the intersection, really consciousness is the intersection of our internal and our external world and how we interpret that. Very profound. Great point.
Yes, and what I'd also like to say, there have been many models, some materialistic, reductionistic scientific models say that, well, consciousness it's strictly a brain phenomenon, because when the brain is on and awake, we're conscious, and when it's off, we're not conscious, so it has to be a brain phenomenon. And then they build models, and I don't entirely agree with that, because that implies once you reach sort of a critical mass of neurons, all of a sudden, bingo, consciousness appears. And
Sorry.
that doesn't seem very plausible or realistic. Is there going to be like what is there, an n magic number of neurons for it to suddenly appear? What is the scientific basis for that?
Well, and it also doesn't explain, it's a very limited concept or perception, because it doesn't explain how there's been times in history where, let's say, when the telephone was invented, for example, there was 3 or 4 people around the world who had the same idea, the same concept, and it was just a matter that Alexander Graham Bell patented it first. But there was other people who weren't even in the same area as him. They were in different areas of the world. So that's the collective consciousness. They're all getting that idea together at the same time. And that's not the only example. There's numerous examples where
That's like the 100th monkey experiment.
yeah, exactly. It's like collective consciousness. So yeah, there's a lot of limiting views on it out there. And we could really go on for hours and interview you for hours, but we got to stay on schedule. So we're going to hop into our favorite segment, Shit or Shift.
Oh, okay.
Your favorite, Olga, your favorite.
This is where we have a little bit of fun. We get out of the seriousness and have some fun. So this is where we ask you some questions, and you're going to say it's shit or it creates a shift, and give us an explanation as to why.
Okay.
Are you ready? Go ahead, Bethany.
All right, girlfriend. Let's rock and roll. All right, here we go. If fear narrows perception and love expands it, is consciousness fixed, or is it consistently shifting with the emotional state? Shit or shift?
Oh, that's a shift. Like the universe, I think that consciousness is expanding.
Yes. I love it. Love it.
All right, Olga. People in comas have no emotional experience because they have no consciousness. Shit or shift?
I'd say shift. That's a fascinating topic. I don't have any scientific study on it, but I do have all kinds of anecdotal evidence with various healers who contacted people in the ethers and bring them back down. So
That sounds
And
like my type of people I want to go talk to.
Exactly. That's where we hang out. And there's also been people who in comas have woken up and said, "Oh, you know what, Aunt Beth, I thought that you loved me, but you were hoping having a conversation in this room saying you hoped I died because then you would get some money from me. So you are out of the will, baby." There's been things like that happen too. So there's
I
there's
just
supporting
find it
evidence that you have consciousness even in a coma.
I just
Sorry.
find it fascinating, the near death experiencers,
Mhm.
what they come back and say that they seen, felt, experienced when leaving the body, and you get a firsthand um awareness from what they experience. And I know, like, after my son passed, that studying and learning about near death experiences absolutely shifted my whole belief in my life, really. And I just find it fascinating, for sure. So,
And anybody, sorry, just to add a quick thing, anybody who wants to really study someone who is on the forefront of explaining near-death experience is Darius J. Wright. So look him up. He's got a lot of YouTube videos. So if you're interested in that phenomenon, go
okay.
check him out.
there's even a Dutch cardiologist, Pin van Lommel, who's spoken and interviewed with very many cardiac patients who had near-death experiences too.
Yeah,
Very cool.
it's fascinating.
There's also a movie about it too. There's a movie out and I can't remember. Shoot, I can't remember the name of it. I should not have brought it up. Okay. Go ahead, Bethany.
All right. Thinking your emotions are a weakness to overcome instead of intelligence to understand. Is that a shit or shift?
Oh, emotions are not a weakness to overcome. I call a big.
She says that's a negative
She
ghostwriter
says
with a
that's
pattern
shit.
full.
Pure shit. We'll
That's
say it
No,
for her.
no.
You're a horse pucky on that one.
Like,
No, they are signals. They're messengers. It's not a weakness. It means that something within us is working, functioning correctly, and telling us you're not on track, you're not aligned.
would you think that we have totally been taught not to connect with our emotions, with our feelings? Um, would you say that would be accurate? I know, like, maybe for each household's different, but as a general um, observation, do you see that?
Absolutely. I think even culturally, certain cultures uh, do not view emotions as something positive, and
Yeah.
they exactly see it as a weakness, as something
Yes.
to avoid. And I
Yeah.
think you can't keep, like Sharon, as you know, you can't keep throwing or hiding things under the rug all the time for years and years. It's gonna manifest itself one way or another.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yes. Which begs a good question, Olga. Physical healing doesn't begin when the diagnosis changes. Healing begins when consciousness changes. Shit or shift.
Oh, yes. Big shift on that one. Mega, ultra mega shift on that one.
Yes. All right, Olga, my final question. If your emotions are running your life and you don't know it, is that freedom or is that a program? Shit or shit?
Oh, no, that's absolutely true. If they're running your life and you don't know it, you're living in an unconscious form of tyranny. You have to become, the first step is to become aware, to become conscious,
Observe. Yeah.
to become conscious of your thoughts, to become conscious of your beliefs, and then address them. And that's another kettle of fish.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Without the story, without, have the thought, without attaching a story behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Miss Sharon.
All right. And I think this is basically the same question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Most people believe they are reacting to reality when in fact they're reacting to an emotional memory of reality.
Ooh.
Oh, very true. As to circle back to the beginning, it's your filters and your perceptions and your interpretations. And that's why, going back to consciousness, awareness, seeing what is, not what you see, what your past wounding is narrowing your vision to see. And that takes knowledge, wisdom, patience, self-love, and lots of awareness.
Yes.
A lot of awareness. It begins with awareness, right?
Yeah. It all comes back to consciousness.
Yes, it's everything. Bethany and I just had that conversation before we came on, and I said, because we were talking about our next series, and I said, I truly believe it all comes back to consciousness, because that's what it's all about, really.
Yep. I agree.
Exactly.
Well, Olga,
Olga,
we are.
One
Oh,
sec.
you go.
One more question for you, Olga. Other than Holy Shiftballs, where can people go to start learning about how their consciousness influences their reality?
Oh, there's a lot of books and programs. I think John Kabat-Zinn, Full Catastrophe Living,
Okay.
meditation, all kinds of meditation, all kinds of like somatic techniques, things that slow down the mind. Sorry, am I answering your question?
Yeah,
I feel like I'm
Yeah, you are.
on a
Yeah.
tangent.
Well, Olga,
We love it.
Olga, you are just an amazing divine being, and you are so informative, and your delivery of information is spot on. And it's a pleasure. I know I can speak for Sharon. It's been a pleasure sharing this podcast with you today. And any of our listeners that would like to get in contact with you, what is the best way that they can reach out?
On my website, postdiagnosislife.com, and my email, postdiagnosislife@gmail.com.
Yes. Well,
Beautiful.
Olga, you are an absolute powerhouse, girl.
Mhm. Yes,
Thank you
yes,
so
you are.
much. Thank you so much for
Thank you
being
so
here.
much. It's always a real pleasure to chat with the both of you. I love it.
We do
Well, we
too.
love you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Olga.
so much.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Well, Sharon, if you know what, girl, if today's conversation made you stop and think about your emotions differently, then we've done exactly what we set out to do, girl.
Oh, yeah.
Because emotions aren't just something you feel. They may be shaping what you notice, what you believe, and what you expect, and ultimately how you experience your life.
Yeah. So here's a question for you listeners. What emotion has been driving your consciousness lately? Is it fear? Is it peace? Is it stress? Is it trust? Is it resentment? Joy? Happiness? What's your driver?
Yes, be sure to drop in the comments. We actually do read them.
We do.
We love them. And chances are you're not the only one experiencing it.
So, and if this episode has shifted your perspective, share it. Share it with someone who's been carrying the weight of life and doesn't even realize how much their emotional state is shaping their reality.
That's right, girl. And if you're enjoying the WTF is Consciousness series, be sure to subscribe to the Holy Shift Ball podcast on YouTube and follow us on all the social media platforms.
Because what we're trying to do is ask the questions that most people are wondering about.
But few people are brave enough to ask it out loud, Sharon. So,
Exactly.
who is on our podcast next week?
Next week, we have another powerhouse, and we're going to be talking about expanded states of consciousness with Sarah Rocasano. So across different cultures and centuries, people describe the same expanded states of awareness, like Buddhist monks and Christian mystics and near-death experiencers. They describe a deep connection with the creator and all living things and a state of profound peace. So being that it expands cultures and centuries, is that a coincidence or is that a deeper human capacity?
Well, girl, that sounds like it's okay. All right. Well, I look
Yeah,
forward. Yeah, that part. Okay. Well, that like Sarah's an absolute fun
Oh,
house.
she's fun.
You know,
Yeah.
it'll be a lot of fun and entertaining to pick her brain.
Mhm.
Well, Sharon, hey girl, I
Mhm.
gotta tell you something. Hey,
What?
hey,
What?
remember, girl, when
Yeah.
life kicks you in the balls, be sure to tune into your Holy Shiftball podcast.
Where we help you turn that shit into a shift.
All right, we'll see you Thursday.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.